The bank called at 11:30 to tell me my son had just emptied my account. I stood there, phone trembling in my hand, trying to explain that Ryan had died 4 hours earlier in a car accident. The woman on the other end went silent, then said something that made my blood run cold. "Mrs. Mitchell, the withdrawal was made 20 minutes ago. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Let me back up and show you how I went from planning my son's funeral to realizing someone had stolen everything I had, and that person knew exactly when to strike. That morning started like any widow's worst nightmare. I was making coffee when the doorbell rang at 7:15. 2 police officers stood on my porch, their faces grave. "Mrs. Mitchell? I'm Officer Davies. May we come in?" My heart dropped. You know that feeling when your body knows something terrible before your brain catches up? They told me Ryan's car had gone off Highway 26 around midnight. Single vehicle accident. He died instantly. I remember sinking into Thomas's old recliner, the one I'd kept for 15 years after losing my husband. Now I was losing my son too. My baby, my only child. Jennifer, my daughter-in-law, arrived an hour later. She came through the door already crying, mascara running down her face. "Barb, oh my God, the police just told me. I can't believe it. I just can't believe Ryan's gone." She collapsed into my arms, and despite the fact that we'd never been particularly close, I held her. We were both grieving, or so I thought. The next few hours blurred together. Phone calls. Jennifer's mother came to pick up Ethan and Olivia, my grandchildren. I couldn't tell them yet. How do you tell an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old that their father is never coming home? Jennifer insisted on handling the funeral arrangements. "You've been through this before, Barb. Let me take care of it. You need to rest." I should have questioned why she was so eager to take charge. I should have wondered why someone who just lost their husband was so composed. But grief makes you stupid. It makes you trust people you shouldn't. At 11:30, my phone rang. "Mrs. Mitchell, this is Sarah from First National Bank. I'm calling about a large withdrawal from your savings account." I was barely listening, still in shock. "I'm sorry, now's not a good time. My son just—" "Ma'am, I understand, but this is urgent. Your account shows a withdrawal of $427,000 made this morning. We need to verify this was authorized by you." The room tilted. $427,000? That's everything. I didn't authorize any— Wait, what time did you say? My voice came out strangled. "The transaction was processed at 11:10 a.m., ma'am. It shows as an online transfer to an account at Pacific Trust Bank." "That's impossible." I was shaking now. "My son died at midnight. He's the only other person who had access to that account, and he's been dead for 11 hours. The silence on the other end lasted too long. When Sarah spoke again, her voice had changed. "Mrs. Mitchell, this transfer was made from your son's computer using his login credentials 20 minutes ago. Someone is actively using his identity right now." That's when everything clicked into place. The way Jennifer had arrived already dressed, makeup done. How quickly she'd taken control. The insistence that I rest, stay home, don't worry about anything. She'd needed me out of the way. I looked up to find Jennifer standing in my kitchen doorway, holding my laptop. "Barb, I was just checking Ryan's email for the insurance information. Did you need something?" She smiled at me. That same sympathetic smile she'd been giving me all morning. But now I saw it differently. Now I saw a woman who'd just robbed me blind while my son's body was still warm at the morgue. "No," I said slowly, never taking my eyes off her. "I just need to make a quick phone call." I watched her walk away, still holding my laptop. The one Ryan had set up for me, the one connected to all my accounts. The one she'd clearly been using while I'd been sitting here, drowning in grief. 27 years ago, I'd held Ryan in my arms for the first time. I'd promised to protect him from everything. I'd failed. But I'd be damned if I'd let whoever killed him. Because I knew now, with absolute certainty, that this was no accident. Get away with stealing the life Thomas and I had built. I had $427,000 reasons to find out the truth. and I was going to start by figuring out why my daughter-in-law wasn't crying anymore. The funeral home smelled like lilies and lies. I sat across from Mr. Patterson, the funeral director, while Jennifer filled out paperwork with a steady hand. No trembling, no tears, just efficient check marks and practiced signatures. I kept thinking about that bank transfer, $427,000 disappearing while Ryan's body was still at the accident scene. "We'll need to discuss the casket options," Mr. Patterson was saying. Jennifer immediately pointed to the most expensive one in the catalog. "That one. Ryan deserves the best." "That's $8,000, I said quietly. "Maybe we should look at something more modest." Jennifer's head snapped toward me. "Modest? Barb, this is your son we're talking about. You're not seriously going to cheap out on his funeral, are you?" She touched her eyes with a tissue, but they were dry. I'd been watching. Not a single real tear since she'd arrived at my house that morning. The old me would have backed down, would have written the check to avoid conflict. But the old me didn't know what I knew now. "Of course not, dear. I just want to make sure we're being practical." Ryan would have wanted that. Mr. Patterson looked between us, clearly uncomfortable. "Why don't you ladies take some time to discuss this? I'll give you the room." He practically ran out. As soon as the door closed, Jennifer's mask slipped. "Look, Barb, I know you're grieving, but I'm his wife. I get to decide how we say goodbye to my husband. With my money," I said evenly. She blinked. "What? You want to spend my money on a casket? My money that was in my account. The account that someone cleaned out this morning while I was too devastated to think straight." I watched her face carefully. A flicker of something. Fear. Calculation. Crossed her features before the bereaved widow mask snapped back into place. "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm trying to plan my husband's funeral, and you're worried about money. What kind of mother are you?" There it was. The deflection. Make me the bad guy. Make me feel guilty for asking questions. I'd seen Thomas's business partners try this tactic 100 times. It never worked on me then, and it sure as hell wasn't going to work now. The kind of mother who's wondering why the bank called to tell me about a $427,000 withdrawal made from Ryan's computer 4 hours after he died, I said, keeping my voice calm. Using his login, his password, his access to my account that I gave him 5 years ago when I was recovering from knee surgery. Jennifer stood up so fast, her chair scraped against the floor. "Are you accusing me of something, Barbara?" I'd noticed she only used my full name when she was angry. "I'm saying it's strange. Don't you think it's strange, Jennifer? Ryan dies at midnight. By noon, my entire life savings is gone. And you show up at my house already dressed and made up, ready to take charge of everything. I was in shock. I threw on whatever clothes I could find. How dare you? What were you wearing yesterday?" I interrupted. "What? When you and Ryan came over for dinner Sunday night, what were you wearing?" She stared at me. "I don't." "Why does that matter?" "Because you're wearing the exact same blouse right now. Same earrings, same everything. Either you slept in your clothes, or you never went home last night." The color drained from her face. We both knew what that meant. Ryan had died at midnight on Highway 26. That was a 20-minute drive from our house. Jennifer had been at my door by 8 a.m., fully dressed, makeup perfect. If she'd been home when the police called, she would have been in pajamas. Devastated, unprepared, unless she'd known he wasn't coming home. "I was at my mother's," she said quickly. Too quickly. I couldn't sleep. Ryan and I had a fight, and I went to stay with her. The police called her house. About what? What? What did you fight about? Jennifer grabbed her purse. "I don't have to explain myself to you. I'm going to find a funeral home that treats grieving widows with respect." She headed for the door, then turned back. "And for your information, that money is probably in Ryan's business account. He mentioned moving funds around for tax purposes. So maybe before you go accusing people, you should check with his accountant." She left in a cloud of expensive perfume and poorly constructed lies. Tax purposes. Right. Ryan's business had been struggling for 2 years. He'd borrowed $50,000 from me last year just to make payroll. There was no way he was moving $427,000 for tax purposes. I pulled out my phone and called Linda, my best friend since college. She answered on the first ring. "Barb, honey, I just heard about Ryan. I'm so sorry. Do you need me to come over?" "I need you to tell me I'm not crazy," I said. "And then I need you to help me figure out if my daughter-in-law killed my son." The silence lasted 3 heartbeats. Then Linda said, "I'll be there in 15 minutes. Don't talk to anyone until I arrive." I sat alone in that funeral home, surrounded by casket catalogs and sympathy cards, thinking about the last time I'd really looked at Jennifer, really seen her. It had been Sunday dinner, just 2 days ago. Ryan had seemed off, distracted. He'd barely touched his pot roast, which was his favorite. Jennifer had done all the talking, chattering about a vacation they were planning to Hawaii. "We're thinking maybe next month," she'd said, squeezing Ryan's hand. "Ryan's been working so hard. He deserves a break." Ryan had given her a look I couldn't quite read. "We haven't decided anything yet," he'd said quietly. "Oh, don't be such a worrywart," Jennifer had laughed, but it sounded forced. "It's not like we can't afford it." That's what had been bothering me. Ryan's business was hemorrhaging money. He'd told me as much 3 weeks ago when he'd asked for another loan, one I'd had to refuse because I'd already lent him everything I could spare. So where exactly was Jennifer planning to get money for a Hawaiian vacation? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Mrs. Mitchell, this is Detective Harrison from the Sheriff's Department. We need to speak with you about your son's accident. Can you come to the station this afternoon?" I stared at that message. The police didn't ask people to come to the station for routine accident reports. They wanted to talk to me about something specific, something that required an official setting and probably a recorder. I texted back, "I'll be there at 3 p.m. Then I called the bank. Sarah, the woman from this morning, answered. "Mrs. Mitchell, I'm so glad you called back. We've frozen your account pending investigation, but there's something else you need to know." "What is it?" "The transfer this morning? It wasn't the first one. We've identified 3 other transfers over the past 6 months. Smaller amounts, $20,000, $35,000, and $50,000. All authorized with your son's credentials, all going to the same Pacific Trust account. $105,000 before today, plus $427,000. Someone had stolen over $500,000 from me, and they'd been doing it slowly, carefully, for months, making sure I wouldn't notice right away. Can you tell me who owns the Pacific Trust account?" I asked. "I can tell you it's a business account, registered to Clearwater Consulting LLC. Never heard of it. According to our records, your son was listed as a partner when the account was opened last January. January, 3 months before Ryan had asked me for that $50,000 loan, claiming his business was struggling. 3 months before he'd started losing weight, looking stressed, barely sleeping. Sarah, I need you to send me every record of these transactions. Every date, every amount, every detail you have. I'll email everything within the hour, Mrs. Mitchell. I'm so sorry this is happening." I thanked her and hung up. Through the funeral home window, I could see Jennifer sitting in her car. She wasn't crying. She was on her phone, typing frantically. Then she made a call. She was agitated. I could tell by the way she was gesturing. After a minute, she ended the call and drove away fast. Linda pulled up moments later. She came through the door like a force of nature. 66 years old, but moving like she was 40, all purpose and barely contained fury. She'd been with me when Thomas died. She'd held my hand through the worst days of my life. Now she was here for the second worst day. Or maybe it was about to become the worst. I wasn't sure anymore. "Talk," she said, pulling a chair close. "Tell me everything." So I did. The police at dawn, Jennifer's too perfect appearance, the bank call, the missing $427,000, the 3 previous transfers, the business account Ryan supposedly co-owned. Jennifer's lies about fighting with Ryan, staying at her mother's, the whole performance at the funeral home. When I finished, Linda sat back, her jaw tight. That manipulative little... She caught herself. Okay. First thing, we call your lawyer. Second thing, we find out everything we can about Clearwater Consulting. Third thing, you do not, under any circumstances, let Jennifer know you're investigating. The police want to see me at 3. Linda checked her watch. It's 1:30 now. We call Howard, your lawyer, right now. He meets us at the station. You don't say a word without him present. I nodded. My hands were steadier now. The shock was wearing off, replaced by something harder, colder. I'd spent 39 years being Ryan's mother. I'd sacrificed everything to give him a good life after Thomas died. I'd built a successful life, saved money, been careful and smart. And someone, maybe my own daughter-in-law, had decided I was an easy mark. They were about to learn that Barbara Mitchell was a lot of things, but easy had never been one of them. Detective Harrison's office was smaller than I'd expected. Cramped, really, with an ancient desk and walls covered in commendation plaques that needed dusting. He was younger than me, late 40s maybe, with kind eyes that made me nervous. Kind eyes meant bad news was coming. My lawyer, Howard Chen, sat beside me. He'd been Thomas's lawyer, and then mine for 20 years. My client is here voluntarily, he said, before Harrison could even open his mouth. And she's still in shock from losing her son. Whatever questions you have, make them quick and considerate. Harrison nodded, then pulled out a file folder. Not a thin one. Mrs. Mitchell, I'm very sorry for your loss. I know this is a difficult time, but we have some concerns about the circumstances of Ryan's death. My stomach dropped. Concerns? Your son's vehicle left the road at a point where there's no curve, no obstruction. Nothing that would explain why he swerved. The skid marks suggest he braked suddenly, but there's no indication of what he was trying to avoid. He paused. Also, his blood alcohol was 0. No drugs. No medical episode. He was a healthy 39-year-old man who apparently just drove off the road at 60 miles per hour. What are you saying? My voice came out steadier than I felt. I'm saying we're treating this as a suspicious death until we can rule out foul play. Howard tensed beside me. Are you suggesting someone tampered with his vehicle? We're investigating all possibilities. Harrison looked at me directly. Mrs. Mitchell, when's the last time you saw your son alive? Sunday night. He and Jennifer came for dinner. How did he seem? I thought about Ryan picking at his pot roast. The dark circles under his eyes. The way he'd flinched when Jennifer grabbed his hand. Stressed, tired. He'd been working long hours. Did he mention any problems? Anyone he was worried about? His business was struggling. He'd asked me for a loan 3 weeks ago that I couldn't give him. I hesitated, then decided to take the leap. Detective, there's something you should know. This morning, someone withdrew $427,000 from my bank account using Ryan's computer credentials. 4 hours after he died. Harrison's expression didn't change, but I saw his eyes sharpen. Did you report this? The bank called me. They've frozen the account and started an investigation. Who else had access to your account? Only Ryan. I gave him the login information 5 years ago when I had surgery. He handled my bills for a few weeks. And you never changed the password after? I felt my face heat. Stupid. So stupid. No. He was my son. I trusted him. What about his wife? Would she have known the password? I don't know. Maybe. They lived together, shared computers sometimes. Harrison wrote something down. Mrs. Mitchell, I need you to tell me about Jennifer, their relationship, how she's been acting since the death. So I told him. Everything. Jennifer showing up fully dressed and made up. Her dry eyes. The lies about fighting with Ryan. Staying at her mother's. Her insistence on the expensive funeral arrangements. The way she'd tried to guilt me when I questioned the money. She left the funeral home angry, I finished. And she was wearing the same clothes she'd worn to dinner Sunday night. Which means either she never went home after she supposedly fought with Ryan, or she's lying about the whole thing. Harrison exchanged a look with Howard that I couldn't decipher. Then he pulled out several papers from his file. Mrs. Mitchell, these are phone records from your son's cell phone. His last call was at 11:47 p.m. Sunday night, about 10 minutes before the accident. It was to Jennifer's cell. The call lasted 14 minutes. So he was talking to her when he crashed? We don't know. The call could have ended normally, or it could have been interrupted by the accident. But here's what's interesting. Jennifer didn't call 911. She didn't report the accident. In fact, she didn't call anyone until 8:30 the next morning, when she called her mother. My blood went cold. But the police came to my house at 7:15. Right, because a truck driver spotted the wreck at 6:45 and called it in. We reached Ryan's emergency contact, you, immediately. But Jennifer, she didn't even try to reach you. Didn't call the police to ask about her husband. She waited until 8:30 to call her mother and tell her Ryan was dead. Because she already knew, I whispered. That's one theory. Harrison leaned forward. Mrs. Mitchell, I'm going to be frank with you. Your daughter-in-law's behavior is concerning. The financial theft is concerning. The timing of everything is concerning. But concerning isn't proof. I need evidence. What kind of evidence? Did Ryan keep records at your house? Old papers? Documents? Anything? He has some boxes in my attic. Things from when he moved out years ago. I never threw them away. I'd like to look through those boxes, with your permission. I glanced at Howard, who nodded. Of course, I said. Harrison stood. There's one more thing. We searched Ryan's car. Found his laptop in the trunk. It survived the crash. We'll need a warrant to search it, but his business partner might be able to help us with the password. Business partner? I frowned. Ryan worked alone. He was a freelance graphic designer. According to his tax returns from last year, he listed a business partner, someone named Marcus Wade. Ring a bell? It didn't. And that bothered me more than anything else. My son had a business partner I'd never heard of. He'd opened a bank account I didn't know about. He'd been making transfers from my money that I hadn't noticed. How much of Ryan's life had been hidden from me? Howard drove me home. We didn't talk much. He was too busy texting his paralegal, getting her to start digging into Clearwater Consulting and Marcus Wade. Linda was waiting on my porch, holding 2 coffees and a determined expression. Tell me you found something, she said. I found out my son might have been murdered, and that I didn't know him as well as I thought I did. We went inside. Howard headed straight for the attic stairs while Linda and I stood in the kitchen. The same kitchen where I'd learned Ryan was dead just 12 hours ago. It felt like 12 years. My laptop sat on the counter where Jennifer had been holding it this morning. I opened it carefully, half expecting the bank account to be empty or worse. But it was exactly as I'd left it, which meant Jennifer must have used Ryan's computer for the transfer. Linda, do you know how to find deleted files? I know someone who does. Why? Because I want to know what else has been deleted from Ryan's computer, and I want to know before the police get that warrant. She pulled out her phone. My nephew works in IT. He owes me a favor. I'll have him here tonight. Howard came down from the attic carrying 3 boxes. There's more up there, but these looked most recent. He set them on the table and started pulling out folders. Most of it was old tax returns, college transcripts, stuff from Ryan's first apartment. But in the second box, tucked under a stack of old magazines, Howard found a spiral notebook. The kind Ryan used to carry everywhere when he was working on design projects. Except this wasn't filled with sketches. It was filled with numbers, dates, amounts, account numbers, all in Ryan's handwriting. And at the top of the first page, underlined 3 times, "If anything happens to me, give this to Mom." My hands shook as I read through the entries. January 15th, $20,000. March 3rd, $35,000. June 12th, $50,000. All matching the transfers Sarah had mentioned. But beside each entry, Ryan had written notes. Told her I couldn't do this anymore. She said we're in too deep. Marcus threatened me today. Said I knew too much. Jennifer says we just need 1 more transfer and then we're done. I don't believe her anymore. The last entry was dated October 29th, 4 days before Ryan died. She's going to kill me. I know too much. She needs me gone. Mom, I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I should have been strong enough to say no. But I was weak and stupid, and now I don't know how to fix this. If you're reading this, it means I was right. It means she did it. Please, don't let her get away with it. Don't let her take the kids. The notebook slipped from my hands. Linda caught it, read the last entry, and immediately pulled out her phone. I'm calling Detective Harrison. Right now. But I was stuck on one line. Don't let her take the kids. Ethan and Olivia, my grandchildren. They were with Jennifer's mother right now, but they'd have to come back eventually. Jennifer was their mother. Even if we proved she'd stolen the money, even if we proved she'd somehow caused Ryan's death, she was still their mother. Unless she wasn't fit to be their mother. Unless we could prove she was dangerous. Howard was already 3 steps ahead. I'm filing for emergency custody on your behalf. Tonight. We'll use Ryan's notebook as evidence that he feared for his safety and wanted to protect his children from Jennifer. Can we do that? Will it hold up? In combination with everything else? The stolen money, the suspicious death, Jennifer's behavior? Yes. A judge will grant temporary custody to you while the investigation continues. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Stop digging or you'll end up like your son. I showed it to Howard and Linda. Their faces went white, but I felt something else entirely. Not fear. Rage. Ryan had been scared. Ryan had tried to protect me, tried to leave me a trail of breadcrumbs to follow, and someone had killed him for it, had driven him off the road, or tampered with his car, or done something that made my boy die alone in the dark. Forward that text to Detective Harrison, Howard said. That's evidence of witness intimidation. I did. Then I texted back, come try. Linda grabbed my phone. Barb, what are you doing? I'm letting them know that threatening me was a mistake. I took my phone back and looked at Ryan's notebook again, his handwriting, his fear, his last words to me. I'd failed to protect him when he was alive. But I could still get him justice. I could still protect Ethan and Olivia. I could still make sure that whoever did this, Jennifer, this Marcus Wade person, or both of them together, would pay for every moment of fear my son had felt. The police wanted evidence. I'd find them evidence. They wanted proof. I'd get them proof. And if Jennifer thought she could steal my money, murder my son, and walk away with my grandchildren, she had no idea who she was dealing with. I'd been a widow for 15 years. I'd built a life from nothing. I'd survived grief that would have broken most people. Barbara Mitchell wasn't someone you threatened. Barbara Mitchell was someone you should have run from while you still had the chance. Ryan's old bedroom hadn't changed in 10 years. The same blue curtains I'd sewn when he was in high school. His old desk in the corner where he'd done homework while I sat on the bed, keeping him company. The shelf of participation trophies from Little League. He was never athletic, but he tried so hard. I sat on the bed now, holding a photo of Ryan at age 7, gap-toothed grin, holding up a drawing he'd made. He'd wanted to be an artist even then, and he'd made it. He'd built a career doing what he loved. Until Jennifer. Linda had gone home to get the IT nephew. Howard was at his office, filing emergency custody paperwork. Detective Harrison was on his way to look through the rest of Ryan's boxes. And I was alone in my dead son's childhood bedroom, trying to figure out when everything had gone so wrong. My phone rang. Jennifer. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Barbara, we need to talk. Her voice was tight, controlled. The bereaved widow act was gone. About what? About you telling the police lies about me. About you trying to take my children away. Word traveled fast. I'm not trying to take anyone away, Jennifer. I'm trying to protect them. From what? Their mother? She laughed, but it was ugly. You really think you'll win this? You're a sad old woman who's so desperate to blame someone for Ryan's accident that you've invented this insane conspiracy theory. Is that what this is? A conspiracy theory? Ryan's death was tragic, but it was an accident. And the money? He was moving it for tax purposes, like I told you. You'll see when the accountant explains it. Then why did Ryan write in his notebook that you were going to kill him? Silence. Long enough that I thought she'd hung up. Then, "Where did you find that?" "In a box in my attic, along with records of every transfer you and your boyfriend made from my account, along with notes about how scared Ryan was, how he wanted to stop but you wouldn't let him. I don't have a boyfriend. Marcus Wade. Ring a bell? Ryan's business partner who I'd never heard of until today? The one whose name is all over Clearwater Consulting's registration papers?" More silence. I had her. I could hear her breathing quicken, hear the panic starting to set in. "You can't prove anything," she finally said. "Can't I?" "Because Detective Harrison seems to think I can. He's at my house right now, going through all of Ryan's things, finding all the evidence Ryan left behind because he knew you'd try something like this." "Ryan left." She stopped herself. "Ryan didn't leave anything. He wouldn't. He left me everything I need to put you in prison, Jennifer. For theft. For conspiracy. And when they prove you tampered with his car, for murder. I didn't touch his car. I wasn't even there." "Then where were you?" "Because you told me you were at your mother's house. But your mother told Detective Harrison she didn't see you Sunday night. Didn't get a call from you until 8:30 Monday morning. So where were you, Jennifer? Where were you when my son drove off the road?" I heard her breathing harder now. Faster. She was cracking. "I was home. Alone. Ryan and I didn't fight. I was home." "Prove it. Show the police your phone records, your car's GPS history, your credit card transactions. Show them you were where you said you were." "You're bluffing. You don't have any real proof." "I have Ryan's notebook. I have bank records. I have your lies. And I have a detective who's very interested in why you didn't call the police when your husband died. Why you didn't even ask where his body was or how the accident happened. Why you showed up at my house already dressed like you'd been expecting bad news. You're insane. Maybe. Or maybe I'm a mother who knows when someone's lying about killing her son. We'll let a jury decide." I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From adrenaline. From satisfaction. I'd rattled her. Made her admit she'd lied about being at her mother's house. Got her to panic enough to make mistakes. Detective Harrison knocked on the doorframe. "Mrs. Mitchell? I heard some of that. Please tell me you recorded it." "Should I have?" He sighed. "For future reference, yes. But what I heard was interesting. She admitted she lied about her whereabouts. She said she was home alone. But she'd originally told me she was at her mother's after a fight with Ryan. Her mother confirms Jennifer wasn't there Sunday night. We checked. But here's what's interesting. Jennifer's cell phone pinged off a tower near Highway 26 at 11:52 p.m., right around the time of the accident. My stomach turned. She was there. Or nearby. We're pulling traffic camera footage now. If her car was on that road Sunday night, we'll find it. What about the laptop, Ryan's laptop from the car? Still waiting on the warrant, but I did some digging into Marcus Wade. He's interesting. Multiple fraud charges, served 2 years in Nevada for running a Ponzi scheme, got out 3 years ago. Started Clearwater Consulting 18 months ago. And guess who his partner is? Jennifer. Not officially. But we pulled security footage from Pacific Trust Bank. Jennifer was there last January, opening the business account with Marcus. She signed the paperwork as Ryan Mitchell, forged his signature. We verified it against his actual signature from his driver's license. So she framed Ryan, made it look like he was stealing from me. That's our theory. Ryan might not have even known about the account until later. We're thinking Marcus and Jennifer manipulated him into giving them access to your money, then took it themselves. And when Ryan figured it out and threatened to tell you, they killed him. The words hurt to say, but they were true. I knew they were true. Harrison nodded. We found something else in Ryan's car. A voice recorder. It was running when the accident happened. My breath caught. And? We're having it analyzed. The audio is damaged, but we can hear Ryan talking to someone in the car with him. A woman. Jennifer. She'd been in the car. She'd caused the accident somehow. Then what? Walked away? Left him there to die? How does someone do that to the father of their children? Can you arrest her? Not yet. I need more evidence. But Mrs. Mitchell, I need you to do something for me. Stay away from Jennifer. Don't call her. Don't confront her. Don't give her any reason to think we're closing in. She's already threatened you once. I don't want her escalating. What about Ethan and Olivia? Howard Chen called me. He's filing for emergency custody tonight. Between Ryan's notebook, the threats, and what we're uncovering, a judge will grant it. The kids will be safe with you. Safe with me. My grandchildren, who just lost their father, would have to lose their mother too. It wasn't fair. None of this was fair. But fair had died when Jennifer decided my son's life was worth less than my money. There's something else, Harrison said. We searched Marcus Wade's apartment, found financial records showing he's in debt to some very dangerous people, the kind who don't ask nicely when they want their money back. How much does he owe? Close to $400,000, same amount stolen from your account this morning. So that was it, the final piece. Marcus owed money to loan sharks or worse. Jennifer saw an easy mark in me, an older widow with savings and a trusting relationship with her son. They manipulated Ryan into helping them, and when he tried to back out, they killed him and took the money anyway. My son died for $400,000, for Marcus Wade's debts, for Jennifer's greed. Find them, I said to Harrison. Find them both, and make sure they never see daylight again. I will, but you need to promise me you'll be careful. These people have already killed once. I promise. But I was lying. Careful wasn't in my vocabulary anymore. Careful was for people who hadn't lost everything. Careful was for people who had something left to lose. I had nothing left but rage and Ryan's memory. And I was going to use both to make sure Jennifer and Marcus paid for every moment of my son's last days. Every moment of fear. Every moment of guilt when he thought he couldn't escape. Ryan had tried to leave me breadcrumbs. Now I was going to follow that trail straight to his killers. And God help them when I got there. Linda's nephew Derek, ironic name, considering, showed up at 7 p.m. with a laptop bag and the intensity of someone who spent way too much time staring at screens. He was 26, thin as a rail, with the kind of pale skin that screamed, "Works night shift." "Aunt Linda says you need digital forensics," he said, setting up at my kitchen table. "What am I looking for?" I handed him Ryan's old laptop, the one he'd used before upgrading last year, the one I'd kept in the closet because I couldn't bear to throw it away. Deleted files, emails, anything that shows what my son was involved in before he died. Derek's fingers flew over the keyboard. When did he last use this? About a year ago. Maybe longer. Good. Means less data to sort through. Give me an hour. While Derek worked, Howard called with an update. Judge Marlowe granted emergency custody. You can pick up Ethan and Olivia tomorrow morning. Jennifer's been served with papers restricting her contact to supervised visits only. How did she react? According to the deputy who served her, she threw a lamp at him. Good. Let her be angry. Angry people made mistakes, and Jennifer was already drowning in mistakes. She just didn't know it yet. What about the funeral? I asked. Can I go ahead with arrangements? You're next of kin after Jennifer. With your custody of the children, you have the right to make decisions. The medical examiner will release the body tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'd bury my son tomorrow. The thought made my chest tight, but I pushed through it. Grief could wait. Justice couldn't. Derek's computer beeped. Got something, he called out. Linda and I crowded around the screen. Derek had pulled up a recovered email chain between Ryan and someone named M. Wade 470 in Gmail. Com, Marcus. The first email was from 10 months ago. Ryan, great meeting you at the networking event. I think we could do some interesting work together. I have some high net worth clients who need graphic design. Interested? M. Ryan's response. Definitely interested. Send me details. Innocent enough. Then the emails got more specific. Marcus. One of my clients needs help moving assets around for estate planning. Very wealthy older woman. I need someone trustworthy to handle the financial side. Ryan. I'm a designer, not an accountant. Marcus. I know. But this client trusts family, and I happen to know your mother has significant savings. She trusts you, right? That's when my stomach dropped. Marcus had targeted Ryan specifically because of me, because he'd found out somehow that I had money and that Ryan had access to it. The emails continued, Marcus being friendly, casual, suggesting Ryan help his mother optimize her investments, offering to cut Ryan in on consulting fees if he could just get his mother to move some money around. Ryan had said no, multiple times, but Marcus was persistent. Then, 6 months ago, the tone changed. Marcus: Ryan, I looked into your business. You're drowning. 2 months behind on rent, creditors calling. You need money fast. I can help. Ryan: How? Marcus: Simple transfer. Your mom never checks her accounts daily. We move $20,000 to the consulting account. I pay my client. We split the fee. Money goes back to your mom's account within a week. She never knows. I felt sick. He made it sound temporary. Linda squeezed my shoulder. Keep reading. Ryan's next email: I don't know. This feels wrong. Marcus: It's not stealing. It's borrowing. And your mother would want to help you, right? You're just too proud to ask. Think of it as helping yourself with her money. You'll pay her back. She'll never even know. Derek scrolled down to show Ryan's response. Sent 3 days later. Okay, but just this once, and the money goes back in a week. Oh, Ryan, I whispered. My poor boy. Desperate, drowning, and too ashamed to come to me directly. So he'd let Marcus manipulate him into thinking this was somehow okay. The emails after that showed the scheme unfolding. The first $20,000 transfer. Marcus's promises that it would be returned. Then excuses, client delayed payment, funds tied up, just another week. Ryan's emails got more panicked. It's been a month. My mom's going to notice. Marcus: Relax. She hasn't checked yet. Let's do one more transfer while we have the chance. Ryan: No, I want the first money back first. Marcus: Can't do that yet, but if you help with this next transfer, I'll make sure both amounts go back to her account by the end of the month. And Ryan, desperate and scared, had agreed. Then again, and again. But the emails from 4 months ago showed everything changing. Ryan: Where's the money, Marcus? You said you'd return it. My mom's account is $105,000 short. She's going to notice soon. Marcus: Plans changed. I need the money for something else. Don't worry about it. Ryan: Don't worry. That's my mother's money. I need to put it back. Marcus: You need to calm down. Unless you want your mother knowing her perfect son is a thief. Ryan: I'm not a thief. You're the thief. I'm telling my mom everything. Marcus: Do that, and I'll make sure the police know it was all your idea. I have emails showing you initiated the transfers. You had the password. Your fingerprints are all over this. Who do you think they'll believe? The next email made me grip the table edge. Marcus: Besides, I have insurance. My girlfriend has been documenting everything. She's got copies of all the transfers, all your emails. If you talk, you go to prison. Your kids grow up visiting daddy behind bars. Your mom loses everything trying to defend you. Is that what you want? Ryan: Your girlfriend? Marcus: Someone close to you. Someone who's been helping plan this from the beginning. Someone you trust. Derek pulled up the next email, dated 3 months ago. It was from a different address, jenmitchell2025@gmail.com. No, Linda breathed. But yes, it was Jennifer. Writing to both Ryan and Marcus in a group email. Ryan, sweetheart, Marcus told me what's been happening. I'm so disappointed in you. But we can fix this. We just need one more transfer, a big one, and then we can return everything to your mom. Marcus has a buyer for his consulting business. Once that sale goes through, we'll have enough to pay everything back, plus give your mom a return on investment. She'll never have to know what happened. Ryan's response: Jennifer, you're working with him? How long has this been going on? Jennifer: Does it matter? I'm trying to help you fix your mistake. Unless you want to tell your mom yourself. Explain how you stole from her while she's been so generous to you. The manipulation was breathtaking. They'd isolated Ryan, made him feel like the criminal, convinced him that one more theft would somehow fix all the previous thefts. The last email was from 2 weeks ago. Ryan, I'm telling my mother everything. I don't care what happens to me. I won't let you steal from her anymore. Marcus, that would be a mistake. Jennifer, Ryan, think about the kids. Think about Ethan and Olivia. You really want them to know their father is a thief? You want them to visit you in prison? Ryan, they'll understand I was trying to do the right thing in the end. Marcus, will they understand when there's no money for college? When their grandmother has to sell her house to pay for your legal defense? When their mother has to work 3 jobs because you destroyed their family? Ryan didn't respond to that email, but Derek found a draft in his deleted folder, never sent. You're right. I can't tell her, but I won't help you anymore either. If I die, she'll find out everything. I've made sure of it. Leave my mother alone, or I swear I'll find a way to expose both of you. He knew, I said. He knew they might kill him. Derek nodded. This last email was dated October 30th. He died November 3rd, 4 days later. Linda's face was pale. That threat about exposing them, that's why they killed him. He became too dangerous to keep alive. My phone rang. Detective Harrison. I put him on speaker. Mrs. Mitchell, we have Jennifer and Marcus in custody. We found Jennifer's car on traffic camera footage near the accident site at 11:47 p.m. And the voice recording from Ryan's car is clear enough to hear Jennifer arguing with him while he was driving. We can't prove she grabbed the wheel yet, but combined with everything else, the emails, the theft, the threats, we have enough to charge them both. I should have felt relief, victory, something, but all I felt was tired. So tired. What happens now? They'll be arraigned tomorrow. Bail hearing after that. I expect both will be denied bail given the flight risk and severity of charges. Murder 1, conspiracy to commit fraud, theft over $100,000, witness intimidation. They're looking at life without parole. Life without parole. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was something. Thank you, Detective. I'm sorry it came to this, Mrs. Mitchell. I'm sorry about Ryan. So am I. I hung up and looked at the computer screen still showing Ryan's emails. My son, desperate and manipulated. My son, trying to fix his mistake. My son, knowing he might die, but still trying to protect me. He left you the notebook, Linda said softly. He made sure you'd find the truth. He shouldn't have had to. I should have noticed. Should have paid more attention to his business struggles. Should have asked more questions. You trusted him. That's what mothers do. But trust had gotten Ryan killed. Trust had made me an easy target. Trust had cost me everything. I looked at Derek. Can you print all of these emails? Every single one? Already done. He handed me a thick stack of papers. I also found his text messages with Jennifer. Want to see those? No. I couldn't. Not tonight. Tonight I had to plan my son's funeral. Tomorrow I'd pick up my grandchildren and tell them their mother was in jail. The day after that, I'd start the process of rebuilding a life that would never be whole again. But first, I had to make sure Ryan's story was told. Make sure people understood what had happened. Make sure no other desperate son got manipulated by predators like Marcus and Jennifer. Derek, can you make me a backup of everything? Every file, every email, every piece of evidence? Sure. Planning to write a book or something? Or something, I said. Because I was going to make sure that when people heard the name Jennifer Mitchell, they thought of greed and murder. When they heard Marcus Wade, they thought of a manipulator who destroyed families for money. And when they heard Ryan Mitchell, they thought of a good man who made mistakes but tried to do right in the end. My son's legacy wouldn't be as a thief. It would be as a victim who fought back the only way he could, by leaving me the truth. And the truth was going to set us both free. The funeral was scheduled for Thursday, 48 hours away. I sat at Romano's, the same restaurant where all this had started, going over the arrangements with Mr. Patterson. He'd been surprisingly accommodating once I'd explained the situation. Turns out being the victim of your daughter-in-law's murder plot made you sympathetic. I think Ryan would have wanted something simple, I said, reviewing the program. Nothing elaborate. Just family and close friends. What about Mrs. Mitchell, Jennifer? She won't be attending. She's in jail awaiting trial for killing him. Mr. Patterson's pen slipped across his notebook. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Neither did I. Not until it was too late. My phone buzzed. A text from Howard. Custody transfer complete. Bringing E&O to your house now. They've been told basic facts. Prepare for questions. Ethan and Olivia. My grandchildren who just lost their father and, effectively, their mother too. How did you explain to an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old that their mom had killed their dad for money? You didn't. Not right away. Maybe not ever. Some truths were too ugly for children. I finished with Mr. Patterson and drove home. Linda was already there, having transformed Ryan's old room into something more appropriate for the kids. The trophies were in boxes. The bed had fresh sheets with colorful dinosaur patterns for Olivia and a navy comforter for Ethan. I didn't know what they liked, Linda said, wringing her hands. I just grabbed what looked good at Target. It's perfect. I hugged her. Thank you. How are you holding up? I'm not, but I don't have time to fall apart. Those kids need me stable. A car pulled up outside. Howard's Range Rover. I watched through the window as Ethan and Olivia climbed out, both carrying small backpacks. Ethan's shoulders were hunched, his face blank. Olivia clutched a stuffed elephant that had been Ryan's when he was little. I'd given it to her when she was born. They came through the door like tiny refugees, lost, scared, looking for something familiar in a world that had gone crazy. Grandma? Olivia's voice was small. Daddy's really dead? I knelt down, pulling her into my arms. Yes, sweetheart, he is. I'm so sorry. Where's Mommy? Ethan asked. His voice was harder, older than 11 years should sound. Everyone keeps saying she can't see us. Did she do something bad? How much truth could I give them? Howard and I had discussed this. They deserved honesty, but not cruelty. Not yet. Your mom is going through some things right now, I said carefully. She needs to deal with some problems before she can see you. But you're safe here with me. And your dad loved you both so much. That never changes. Olivia started crying. Ethan didn't. He just stood there, rigid, like he was holding himself together by force of will. I recognized that look. I'd seen it in the mirror every morning since Ryan died. Can we see Daddy's room? Ethan asked. Of course. I made it into a space for both of you. I hope that's okay. We went upstairs. Olivia immediately claimed the dinosaur bed. Dinosaurs were her current obsession, something I'd forgotten until Linda's lucky guess. Ethan sat on the navy comforter, running his hand over the fabric. I found some of your dad's old things, I said, pulling a box from the closet. His sketchbooks from when he was your age, his baseball glove, some photos. I thought you might want them. Ethan took the baseball glove, holding it like something precious. He taught me to catch with this glove. He taught himself to catch with that glove. Probably wasn't very good at it. Sports were never his thing. But he tried hard. Just like you. I'm not like Dad. Ethan's jaw clenched. Dad made mistakes. Big ones. That's what Grandma Susan said. Grandma Susan. Jennifer's mother. Of course, she'd poisoned them against Ryan already. Probably trying to make Jennifer look like the victim. Your dad made some mistakes, I said carefully. But he was trying to fix them. And people who loved him took advantage of that. Made him feel like he couldn't come to the people who would have helped him. That's not his fault. Grandma Susan said he stole from you. Is that true? There it was. The question I'd been dreading. I could lie. Could protect Ryan's memory. But Ethan was too smart for that. He'd find out eventually. And if I lied now, he'd never trust me again. Your dad moved some money from my account that he shouldn't have, I said. But he was manipulated by people he trusted, people who made him think he had no choice. And when he tried to make it right, those people hurt him. Mom hurt him, Olivia said softly. She was clutching the elephant tighter now. That's what you mean. Mom hurt Daddy. I looked at Howard standing in the doorway. He nodded slightly. The truth then, at least part of it. Your mom made some very bad choices, I said. She got involved with people who did bad things. And yes, we think she hurt your daddy. The police are trying to figure out exactly what happened. Ethan stood up abruptly. I want to see her. You can't right now, sweetheart. She's not allowed to have visitors. Because she's in jail. His voice cracked. My mom is in jail and my dad is dead and everything is terrible and I just want things to be normal again. He stormed out of the room. I heard his footsteps pounding down the stairs, then the front door slamming. Linda went after him. Olivia crawled into my lap. Is Mommy a bad person? Your mommy made bad choices. That doesn't make her all bad. She loved you and Ethan when you were born. She took care of you. But sometimes people change. Sometimes they become people we don't recognize anymore. Did Daddy change? No, baby. Your daddy stayed good, even when it was hard. Even when people tried to make him do bad things. He stayed good. She cried into my shoulder. I held her and rocked her like I'd done when she was tiny, like I'd done with Ryan a lifetime ago. This little girl would grow up without a father, would grow up knowing her mother had taken him away. How did anyone recover from that? Linda came back inside, Ethan trailing behind her. His face was red, eyes swollen. I'm sorry I ran out, he muttered. You're allowed to be angry, I said. You're allowed to feel however you need to feel. No apologies necessary. We spent the next hour going through more of Ryan's things. His high school yearbook, his art portfolio from college, photos of him as a toddler, gangly teenager, proud new father. I told them stories. The time he'd tried to bake me a birthday cake and set off the smoke alarm. The time he'd rescued a stray cat and begged to keep it until Thomas had allergies. The time he'd stayed up all night to finish a project, fallen asleep at breakfast, and face planted into his cereal. They laughed at some stories, cried at others. Slowly, I watched them start to piece together a picture of their father that wasn't just the scared, trapped man of his last weeks. A fuller picture, a better one. That night, after they'd finally fallen asleep, Olivia in the dinosaur bed, Ethan having snuck into Ryan's room and curled up with the baseball glove, I sat in my kitchen with Linda and Howard. You did good today, Linda said, with the kids, telling them the truth but not too much truth. They'll find out everything eventually. When the trial starts. When the media covers it. By then they'll be stronger. They'll have processed the initial grief. They'll have you. I looked at Howard. What's the timeline on trial? Arraignment was today. Both Jennifer and Marcus pleaded not guilty. Bail was denied as expected. Pre-trial hearings will take a few months. Trial probably won't start until late spring. 6 months. Roughly. Maybe longer if there are delays. What are the chances they get convicted? With the evidence we have, the emails, the voice recording, the financial records, Ryan's notebook, I'd say 95% conviction rate. The question is whether it's murder 1 or murder 2. Whether we can prove premeditation. They plan to steal the money. They plan to manipulate Ryan. When he threatened to expose them, they killed him. That's premeditation. A defense attorney will argue it was spontaneous. That Jennifer and Ryan argued in the car, she grabbed the wheel in anger, never intended for him to die. Manslaughter at worst. That's not justice. It's 20 years instead of life without parole. Still justice. Just not perfect justice. Nothing about this was perfect. My son was dead. My grandchildren were traumatized. My life savings was gone. Even if they recovered some of the money, legal fees would eat most of it. And Jennifer, the woman Ryan had loved enough to marry and have children with, had destroyed everything. There's something else, Howard said. Detective Harrison called while you were with the kids. They found something in Jennifer's apartment. A life insurance policy on Ryan. $2 million. Taken out 6 months ago. My blood went cold. 6 months ago. Right when the emails show her getting involved with Marcus. Exactly. She was planning this. She knew they'd eventually bleed your accounts dry, and when they did, Ryan would be worthless to her alive. But dead? Dead. He was worth $2 million. Can they use that as evidence of premeditation? Absolutely. A secret life insurance policy taken out months before the murder? That's textbook premeditation. Jennifer's lawyer is going to have a very hard time explaining that away. I should have felt something. Relief. Satisfaction. But I just felt empty. My son had been worth $2 million dead to the woman who'd promised to love him forever. How do you process that level of betrayal? The funeral is Thursday, I said. I don't want Jennifer's name mentioned. I don't want her mother there. I don't want anyone who sided with her or believed her lies. Just people who loved Ryan. Just people who knew him before she destroyed him. I'll make sure security keeps them out, Howard said. Linda squeezed my hand. Barb, you're going to get through this. The kids are going to get through this, and Ryan is going to get justice. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to think that justice would fix the gaping wound in my chest, would make sense of why my boy had died scared and alone on a dark highway. But justice was just a word, a concept. It wouldn't bring Ryan back, wouldn't give Ethan and Olivia their father, wouldn't return the 39 years I'd spent raising a son, only to lose him to a woman who saw him as a paycheck. But it was all I had, so I'd take it. I'd see Jennifer and Marcus convicted. I'd watch them sentenced. I'd know that Ryan's death meant something, that his last act of leaving me that notebook had ensured his killers wouldn't walk free. And then, maybe I'd finally let myself grieve, let myself fall apart, let myself be the broken mother I'd been holding at bay since that phone call from the bank. But not yet. Not while Ethan and Olivia needed me strong. Not while Ryan needed me to see this through. So I'd stay standing. I'd stay fighting. And I'd make damn sure that everyone knew the truth. My son was a victim, not a villain. And the people who'd destroyed him would pay for every moment of fear, every moment of shame, every moment Ryan had spent thinking he was trapped with no way out. That was my promise to him. My last promise to my boy. And God help anyone who tried to stop me from keeping it. Ryan's funeral was on a sunny November day that felt wrong for grief. 43 people came. Jennifer's mother tried to enter, but security turned her away. I watched her scream about grandparents' rights through the window and felt nothing. Ethan read a poem Ryan wrote at 12. Olivia put a drawing in the casket. Our family, without Jennifer. Smart kid. After the burial, I told Linda my theory. Someone gave Marcus information about me, about Ryan having access to my accounts. This wasn't random. I'd spent 3 days digging through Ryan's contacts and found it. Brenda Walsh, Jennifer's college roommate who worked at Pacific Trust Bank. The same bank where Jennifer opened the Clearwater account with Ryan's forged signature. We found Brenda at her teller window the next morning. Her face went white when she saw me. Mrs. Mitchell, I'm so sorry about Ryan. Are you sorry he's dead? Or sorry you got caught helping his killers? I kept my voice pleasant. Did you give Jennifer information about my accounts? The silence told me everything. Then she started crying. Jennifer said she needed it to surprise Ryan with a gift. I just told her your account balance. I thought I was helping. When she opened the business account, I thought it was for Ryan's graphic design work. I didn't know about Marcus or the stealing or... But you knew after Ryan died. And you said nothing. Jennifer threatened me. Said Marcus would hurt my kids. Make it look like an accident, just like... She stopped, horrified. Just like Ryan's accident, I finished. You're calling Detective Harrison right now. Tell him everything. Maybe you'll just lose your job instead of going to prison for accessory to murder. She made the call while we watched. When she hung up, she whispered, Ryan was always so nice to me. He was nice to everyone, I said. even people who didn't deserve it. In the car, my phone rang. Harrison. Mrs. Mitchell, Brenda's testimony is huge. She proves Jennifer planned this months in advance. Also, we found the money, offshore account in the Caymans. We'll recover most of it eventually. Eventually. I was learning to hate that word. We're searching Jennifer's apartment today, Harrison continued. Want to be there? Yes, I said immediately. Maybe I'd finally understand why she'd done this, why my son had to die. 20 minutes later, I was about to find out. Jennifer's apartment screamed desperation. Maxed credit cards, eviction notices, empty wine bottles, photos of Ethan and Olivia everywhere, none of Ryan. She was broke, Detective Harrison said, showing me folders. Ryan, too, both drowning in debt. Then he showed me the insurance folder. Not one policy on Ryan, 5. Totaling $5 million. She'd been paying $3,000 monthly in premiums she couldn't afford. She was betting everything on him dying, Harrison said. $5 million. That's what my son's life was worth to her. There's more. A journal. He handed me a leather notebook. I opened it with shaking hands. Jennifer's entry from 8 months ago. Met Marcus today. He's everything Ryan isn't. Confident, ambitious. Ryan is weak. Won't even ask his mother for a proper loan. Marcus has a plan. If Ryan won't help us, then Ryan becomes the plan. Another entry, 5 months ago. Convinced Ryan to make the first transfer. He thinks it's temporary. Idiot. I'll never put the money back. His mother has plenty. She loves him too much to prosecute him. She's weak, just like him. She'd weaponized my love for my son. Counted on it to protect her. The final entry was November 2nd. Ryan says he'll confess everything tomorrow. Too late. Marcus and I are meeting him on Highway 26 tonight. One last chance. If he doesn't cooperate. Accidents happen. That's what insurance is for. Premeditated murder in her own handwriting, Harrison said. Life sentence guaranteed. But there was more. He showed me Marcus's phone. Texts between them discussing their next target. Linda Parker, Barb's best friend. Widowed, no kids, $900K in savings. She trusts me. I can get access. Linda. They'd been planning to kill Linda next. I called her immediately. Pack a bag. You're staying with me. You were their next target. They were going to kill me? Her voice shook. Just like Ryan? They were going to try. But we know now. She arrived within the hour, pale and frightened. How many others were on their list? She whispered. I didn't know. But Harrison was already investigating Marcus's past victims, looking for patterns. This wasn't just about Ryan anymore. Jennifer and Marcus had been running a murder-for-profit scheme targeting vulnerable seniors. My son was just their latest victim. But if I could help it, he'd be their last. The trial was set for March 15th. 5 months of watching Ethan and Olivia slowly heal. 5 months of therapy and nightmares and waiting. Finally, justice was coming. The courthouse was chaos. Cameras, reporters, protesters with "Justice for Ryan" signs. I sat in the front row. Jennifer was led in wearing orange, looking nothing like the polished woman from that terrible morning. Gaunt. Broken. She glanced at me once. I stared until she looked away. The prosecution's opening was devastating. They showed the timeline, the insurance policies, Jennifer's journal, her own words. Accidents happen. That's what insurance is for. Jennifer's lawyer claimed the journal was just venting, that the insurance was Ryan's idea, that the affair was over. The jury didn't look convinced. Detective Harrison testified first, walking them through the investigation. Then they played the recording from Ryan's car. His voice filled the courtroom. Jennifer, please, let go of the wheel. We can fix this. Jennifer's voice. Your mom will never understand. You're too weak. You've always been too weak. Ryan, if you love me... Jennifer, I don't love you. I never loved you. You were a means to an end. And now you're in my way. Struggling. Ryan shouting. Screeching tires. Impact. Silence. Half the courtroom was crying. I wasn't. I'd used all my tears already. Brenda Walsh testified next, explaining how she'd given Jennifer my financial information. The medical examiner showed Ryan's injuries were consistent with someone grabbing the wheel at high speed. Murder, plain and simple. On day 2, Marcus Wade took the stand. He'd taken a plea deal, 25 years instead of life. He looked smug until the prosecutor asked, "Whose idea was the life insurance?" "Jennifer's," Marcus said. "She said if we were going to do this, maximum payout." "And whose idea was it to kill Ryan?" "Also Jennifer's. She said he was going to talk. Said we needed to shut him up permanently." On day 3, I testified. Told him about the bank call, Ryan's notebook, Jennifer's lies. Her lawyer tried painting me as controlling, suggesting I'd driven Ryan to steal. I looked him dead in the eye. I would have given Ryan anything. He never had to steal. But your client made sure he felt too guilty and scared to ask. She weaponized my love. The courtroom went silent. On day 5, Jennifer took the stand. Worst decision ever. She claimed the affair meant nothing. The journal was fantasy. She'd grabbed the wheel accidentally during an argument. The prosecutor destroyed her. "You took out $5 million in life insurance without telling your husband. For your children's future?" "Yes, but..." "You were 3 months behind on rent, maxed credit cards, but $3,000 monthly for insurance premiums. I thought it was important." "Important enough to kill for?" Jennifer's face crumbled. "I just wanted him to stop talking. I didn't think..." "You didn't think he'd die? Or didn't think you'd get caught?" Silence. The trial lasted 2 weeks. Jury deliberated 4 hours. Guilty. Murder 1. Conspiracy. Theft. Insurance fraud. Marcus got 25 years. Jennifer got life without parole. I watched her led away. She looked back once. Empty eyes, still not understanding what she'd done wrong. But she'd spend life in prison. And that would have to be enough. 3 months after the verdict, Detective Harrison called. "Mrs. Mitchell, we need to talk. Come to the station." His voice made me nervous. "What now?" At the station, he showed me documents. Bank statements, medical records, my will, the one leaving everything to Ryan, and upon his death, to Ethan and Olivia, with Jennifer as trustee until they turned 25. "Jennifer's trying to cut a deal," Harrison said carefully. "Claims she wasn't trying to steal from you. Claims she was trying to steal from your estate. That the original plan was to kill you, not Ryan." The room spun. "What?" "She says Marcus was supposed to make it look like a break-in, then comfort Ryan through his grief, drain your estate slowly. But when they couldn't access your house, you changed locks 6 months ago. They pivoted to Ryan instead." I remembered. Jennifer had been furious about the new locks, said she needed emergency access. I'd thought she was overreacting. She'd been planning my murder. "The life insurance was backup," Harrison continued. "When they couldn't get to you, they realized Ryan was worth more dead than alive. But you were always the primary target." I couldn't breathe. "Why is she telling you this?" "Trying to claim Marcus manipulated her. Wants a reduced sentence. It won't work. She's already serving life. But I thought you deserved the truth. Does this change anything legally?" "Adds attempted murder, but she's already serving life without parole." He paused. "We found searches on Marcus's computer. Your daily routine. Medical records. They'd been surveilling you for months." Linda grabbed my hand. "They were really going to kill you. The only reason you're alive is because you changed your locks," Harrison said quietly. "I'd been the target. Ryan died protecting me without even knowing it. He'd threatened to tell me about the theft, which would have exposed their plan to kill me. So they killed him instead. My son died for me. I want to see her," I said. "Jennifer? Why?" "Because I need to ask her something." It took 2 weeks to arrange. The prison visiting room was cold and sterile. Jennifer looked worse, gaunt, defeated. We picked up phones on opposite sides of the plexiglass. "Barbara," she started. "I wanted to apologize." "Don't," I'm here to ask one question. Did Ryan know? When you killed him, did he know you'd planned to kill me first? She smiled, cold and empty. He figured it out. That last drive, I told him everything. How I'd been watching you, planning it. I wanted him to know he died protecting you. That his precious mommy was only alive because he got in the way. You're a monster. Maybe. But Ryan's last words weren't "I love you." They were, "Tell my mom I'm sorry." Even dying, he worried about you. Pathetic. I wanted to scream, to break through the glass. But I just stared at her. You're going to die in here. Alone. Forgotten. Your children don't even say your name anymore. You destroyed everything for money you'll never spend. You have nothing. You are nothing. Her smile faltered. I hung up and walked out. Linda was waiting. How do you feel? Like I finally have closure. Ryan died protecting me, and now I'm going to live for him. For Ethan and Olivia. We drove home in silence. The kids were doing homework when I walked in. How was it? Ethan asked. Hard, but I got what I needed. Your dad loved us. He died trying to protect us. That's what we'll remember. Olivia hugged me. I miss Daddy. I miss him too, every day. But he's still with us. Jennifer had taken Ryan, but she hadn't won. We were still here, still fighting, still loving each other. And that was victory. 6 months after the trial, on what would have been Ryan's 40th birthday, we planted an oak tree in the backyard. Ryan had always loved them. Strong, enduring, providing shelter for generations. Ethan and Olivia helped dig. We placed Ryan's ashes at the roots and planted the sapling together. Tell us a story about Dad, Olivia said. She was 9 now, taller, with Ryan's eyes. I told them about the lopsided bookshelf he'd built me for Mother's Day at 12. How he'd measured wrong and cried because it wasn't perfect. How I'd kept it in my office for 20 years because it was made with love. Dad wasn't perfect, Ethan said. He was 12 now, understanding more. But he tried to be good. That's what matters, right? Exactly. Being perfect is impossible. Being good, trying your best, learning from mistakes, that's what makes someone worth remembering. We stood looking at the little oak. In 40 years, it would be massive. Ethan and Olivia would bring their own children here, tell them about Ryan, and the tree would remind them that love endures. My phone rang. Harrison. Mrs. Mitchell, the Cayman Islands released your funds. $381,000 recovered. Should be in your account by week's end. Not everything. Legal fees and Marcus's debts had taken the rest, but enough to rebuild. Enough to secure the kids' future. Enough to prove justice, however imperfect, could still be won. Linda had sold her house and moved into my guest room permanently. Too many memories, she'd said. And you need help raising 2 kids at 67. She wasn't wrong. That evening, after the kids went to bed, Linda and I sat on the porch with wine. The oak sapling was visible in the fading light. You ever wonder what would have happened if Ryan had just asked you for help? Linda said. If he'd told you about the debt. Every day. But what ifs don't change anything. Ryan made mistakes. Jennifer and Marcus exploited them. I have to live with that. You're doing more than living with it. You're raising those kids right. Therapy. Stability. Love. You're incredible. I'm surviving. No, Linda said firmly. You're thriving. Those kids are healing. Happy. That's because of you. Maybe she was right. Ethan's grades improved. Olivia's nightmares stopped. They talked about Jennifer less, and when they did, with sadness, not anger, they were moving forward. So was I. I'd started teaching financial literacy at the senior center, helping older adults recognize manipulation, protect assets, understand rights. Every month, people emailed saying I'd helped them avoid scams. Ryan's death had meaning because I gave it meaning. I refused to let his story end with tragedy. I turned grief into action, loss into purpose. You know what I realized? I said. Jennifer thought killing Ryan would destroy me. But she was wrong. She made me stronger, more determined. She tried to take everything, and instead proved I could survive anything. To surviving, Linda raised her glass. To thriving, I corrected. We clinked glasses as the sun set. Somewhere Jennifer was in a prison cell, staring at concrete walls, maybe regretting everything. Maybe not. Either way, I didn't care. She was irrelevant now. A closed chapter. What mattered was the future. Soccer games and art projects. Cookies on Saturday mornings. Family dinners and homework help. The ordinary, beautiful moments Jennifer tried to steal but couldn't. Because love was stronger than greed. Family was stronger than betrayal. And survival was the ultimate revenge. Ryan's oak would grow. My grandchildren would thrive. And I'd spend every remaining day proving Barbara Mitchell was not someone you could break. Jennifer had learned that too late. I checked on the kids before bed. Ethan was asleep with Ryan's baseball glove on his nightstand. Olivia had drawn our family, Ryan as an angel with a tree growing from his hands, taped to her wall. They were going to be okay. We all were. And that was worth more than all the money Jennifer could have stolen. That was worth everything. Share artifacts, download, All Bank Call, Chapters 1. 6 document. MD Bank Call, Chapter 7. 11 document. MD Project Content, Relatos 60s, created by you add PDFs, documents, or other text to reference in this project.